fortunes of war can change their way. We imagine our lives will be. The March family are on their way. Meg, Joe, Beth, and Amy.
Meg and Joe are at the gardener's house tonight attending a wonderful dance party. Meanwhile, Beth and I are secretly staying awake in order to hear all about it as soon as they return.
Beth! Marmee's coming!
Quick, turn it off, Amy.
She's almost here!
Shh, make believe you're asleep. That was close.
Yeah. She's gone now. Should I put on the light? I don't think she's coming back.
You'd better wait a little while longer.
Huh? But I'll fall asleep if the light isn't on.
Then go to sleep, Amy. I'll tell you what happened in the morning.
You could forget that. I'm staying up. I want to hear everything that happened as soon as Meg and Joe return.
But it's getting late. They probably won't be back for 2 hours.
That's all right with me.
Well, I'm starting to get so tired that I might just fall asleep myself.
Not me. I want to hear what happened.
Oh, what fun!
Yes.
Oh. You dance marvelously.
How are you,
hello.
Janet?
Fine.
Gregory?
Hello.
Hello, Clarissa. Sally, where are you?
Hello, Mother. I'm right over here. What is it that you need?
Finally, I found you. Have you seen Mr. Lawrence's grandson anywhere, Sally?
Oh, Mother, please. There you are, Meg. I've been looking for you. I'd like to introduce you to a friend of mine. Come on. So where's Jo been hiding, Meg? Outside?
Oh, she's been concentrating on the refreshments.
That's our Jo.
Laurie Lawrence. What an odd name. However, did you get stuck with that one?
Well, my real name's Theodore, actually.
Why do you call yourself Laurie?
Well, you see, when I was away at school, all the boys started calling me Dora, and that's a name I absolutely hated. So I had to beat a few of them up to make them stop teasing me. I finally got tired of all of the fighting, and I decided to change my name to Laurie.
Lucky you. I wish I could beat up anyone who dared call me by the name Josephine. Jo is much better, don't you think?
Yes, I like that name. And I promise I'll never call you Josephine. I sure wouldn't want you to beat me up. I envy your family. I spend a lot of time watching that warm, loving home of yours. You probably don't realize how lucky you are. I sure wish I had a close family life like you and your sisters have.
But you have so much.
Not really. Grandfather may be wealthy, but our home is cold and lonely. I don't want you to get me wrong, Joe. I love my grandfather dearly. But when I look inside your house, I see your happy family all sitting around the roaring fire, and it feels like I'm looking at a wonderful painting. You 4 girls are always gathered about your mother, listening to every word she says. I wish I could be there with you. Your mother's face has such a soft, tender look. I think it's the love of your mother that makes me most envious of your family. My mother passed away when I was a very young child.
Annie, this is my dear friend, Margaret March.
Margaret, how nice. Sally here has told me all about your love of opera and ballroom dancing.
Meg doesn't know what you're getting at, Annie.
I do tend to overwhelm people with my enthusiastic nature, don't I? Sally, are you sure it's all right if I invite Margaret to come to my house with you?
As I told you before, dear, I think that's an absolutely splendid idea. Now, why don't you go ahead and ask her if she'd like to come?
All right, I was getting to that. Meg, dear, wouldn't you love to come to the Moffats' ball? We have it each summer, and it's really a splendid affair.
It really is a wonderful place to get away and have a good time. Won't you please come along with me this summer, Meg? There's never a dull moment at Annie's house.
We Moffat girls can't tolerate boredom. Why, we try to go to the opera at least twice a week during the summer.
Opera twice a week?
But of course, won't you come, Meg?
I'd love to, providing my mother lets me go to Portsmouth to visit you.
Wonderful.
Hello, ladies.
What are you doing over here?
Yes. Isn't this a dance? Let's get up. We'll waltz around all night and enjoy ourselves.
He's right. Enough of this resting. Let's go have fun.
All right.
May I have the honor?
Mm-hmm.
Shall we? You are lovely.
Oh, thanks.
Your sister seems to be really enjoying herself out there, Joe.
Mm-hmm. She certainly does.
What in the world do you think she sees in that man?
They're only dancing, Laurie.
Ah, but she is a very beautiful young lady, and he's attracted to her.
You're imagining things.
Meg reminds me a lot of the European girls I used to know. She looks so fresh and innocent, but she's really quite mature.
She would be flattered to hear how complimentary you are. But what do you know about European girls, Laurie?
I've been there.
Oh, you must tell me all about it.
Grandfather sent me to Switzerland to study. It was wonderful, except I wished I had been old enough to stay here and enlist. It's my greatest ambition to join the army. The slaves must be freed.
I agree. It's shameful. How old are you?
16. Or rather, I'll be 16 on my birthday next month.
Oh, and you've been to Europe already?
Yes.
I just loved a polka, don't you? Everyone out there is having so much fun, it makes me feel like dancing too.
Joe, I'd be honored if you dance with me.
Oh, I'm afraid I can't. But that's no reason for you not to go, Laurie.
Oh, come on now. I'm sure you're a wonderful dancer.
I'm doing it as a favor to Meg because she asked me not to dance tonight.
Are you kidding? Why would you do a thing like that?
Well, there's a very good reason for it, actually.
Well, let me hear it.
Promise you won't tell anyone?
Of course, Joe.
Well...
Huh? What is that?
It's a patch. Isn't it terrible? It's a brand new dress and there's a hole about this big in it. Our maid tried to patch it up. I have a habit of standing in front of fireplaces. As you can see, I stood too close to the fire and burned a hole in my pretty new gown. You must think I'm a complete scatterbrain.
Why would I think that? For all I know, it could be very fashionable for women to wear patches.
Men may think so, but women never do. Meg told me to stay here so no one would see it. She feels we March girls have to maintain a certain image that no one must know we are poor. That's the reason. No dancing for me, I guess. It's pretty ridiculous, isn't it?
Joe, never mind about that, okay?
You're sweet, Laurie.
Joe, I'll tell you how we can manage. There's a long hall out there and we could dance grandly and no one will notice us. What do you think? It's perfect. Come on, let's go dancing.
Oh! Meg would kill me. Ow! Excuse me. Huh? Oh.
And what are you looking at, Margaret?
Oh, nothing at all.
See? The room is all ours, Joe. May I have the pleasure, ma'am? I learned this in Germany. You're doing wonderfully.
Thank you.
Now the right hand, followed by the left, and both together. That's right.
You're a wonderful dancer.
I'm only as good as my partner.
You're making me look much better than I really am. I don't believe I've ever enjoyed a dance quite as much as this one, Laurie. Usually I'm stepping on people's feet and making an absolute goose out of myself.
That was wonderful, thank you. So, would you like me to bring you a nice cold glass of punch?
I can come along with you, Laurie.
No, I think you'd better stay here and wait for me. Otherwise, Meg might see you out there and become upset.
Maybe you're right.
Mr. Lawrence, have you been hiding in here all this time? We've been looking all over for you.
Well,
Allow me to introduce myself. I'm Mrs. Gardner, a longtime acquaintance of your grandfather.
oh,
And I'm delighted to introduce you to my eldest daughter, Sally.
how do you do? It's a great pleasure to meet the two of you.
Likewise, Mr. Lawrence.
All the guests seem to be having a wonderful time. What about you, Mr. Lawrence? Why don't you take my Sally out on the floor? I understand you're a wonderful dancer. Sally here could use some lessons.
Oh, would you like to dance?
I'd love to.
We'll see you two lovebirds later. Those two make such a lovely couple. Don't you agree?
Huh? Sure, if she was younger.
I see. And who on earth might you be, my dear?
I'm Margaret's sister Josephine, Mrs. Gardner.
Oh, yes, one of the March girls. Why don't you go in and dance a little?
But I don't really feel well at the moment.
Oh, you poor little thing. Would you like me to bring you a doctor, my dear?
Oh, that's all right, Mrs. Gardner. I'll be fine if I just sit here.
Oh. Oh, look, Sally and Mr. Lawrence seem to be having a wonderful time together.
Ow!
Are you all right, Meg?
I'm fine. I just slipped a little.
So much for being able to stay awake all night.
Ha ha ha. I'm still awake.
That clothespin's absurd.
One day my nose will be perfectly shaped, and then you'll be envious.
I highly doubt it. Why don't you cut out this ridiculous notion of staying awake and let yourself go to sleep, Amy?
What about you, Beth? You're doing the same exact thing.
Maybe that's because I really can't fall asleep.
Oh, yeah? Well, I don't believe that, Beth. You're not fooling me. You want to hear the news before me. Am I right or not?
Don't ever become a detective. It's just that you're tired, Amy, and I'm not.
I knew I was right all along. Sorry, I hope I wasn't too loud.
Joe! Meg! Is something wrong? What is it? Let me help you.
Thanks, Joe. It really hurts.
What happened?
My stupid high heel twisted and gave me a terrible wrench.
While you were dancing?
Yes, and my ankle is aching so I can hardly stand up.
Those shoes you're wearing are so tight. I knew it. I knew something like this was going to happen as soon as you started to move around.
Well, I wish you'd warned me about it before we came.
If I did, you wouldn't have listened to me. But forget about that for now. You and I have to figure out how we're going to get home.
I should never have worn these stupid shoes. My ankle hurts so much I can barely walk.
We have two choices, Meg. Either we get a carriage or you spend the night here. Would Sally let you stay here tonight?
I don't know. Oh, I have to sit down, Joe. I can't stay here tonight. The house is already filled with Sally's friends who are staying over. Oh.
Then there's no choice. We have to take a carriage, Meg.
Of all the unlucky times for this to happen, we can't take a carriage. It'll cost too much.
It's the only way, Meg. We can't possibly walk home. Your ankle's already beginning to swell.
Do you realize how far away the carriage stable is from here, Joe? Who's going to go over there and notify them for us?
Don't worry, Meg, I'll go.
Are you kidding? It's after 10 o'clock and it's pitch dark outside.
Do you have a better idea?
Hannah's going to meet us here in an hour. Maybe she can think of something. Anyway, maybe by then the swelling will go down and I'll be able to walk again.
I wouldn't hold my breath, Meg. I'm afraid these things usually take a little longer than that. Is this making it feel any better, Meg?
A little bit. Thanks.
Hey, I've got it. Laurie, I'll ask him to help us out.
Don't you dare! I'd be terribly embarrassed if anybody knew. Who is this person, Laurie, anyway?
Oh, he's our neighbor. Old Mr. Lawrence's grandson.
Oh, my word, you mean the boy who's always watching us? Is that who you're talking about?
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's the one. He's really nice.
Is that so?
He's my age and he's already been to Europe.
Oh, I'd like to meet him one day. Joe, do you suppose you could introduce me to him? I could just stay here on the couch. I wouldn't have to get up. Hand me my shoe. I'll hide it behind me.
Here you are, Meg. I'll go to the front entrance now and wait for Hannah to arrive.
Why don't you relax a bit and have supper first?
I can't because of my dress. They'd all see it.
Don't worry. You can hide it. Besides, I'd love a cup of coffee.
Of course.
And then I told him that...
Oops, excuse me. Oh, no! This isn't really happening. I'm having a nightmare, that's all.
What have you done to yourself, Joe?
I was trying to bring coffee to Meg and I tripped on my hem. What a mess.
I'm sorry, Joe. If you'd like, you could feel free to take one of these to Meg.
Oh.
I realize it won't help your dress any, but at least you won't have to go back for a refill.
How sweet. That's very kind of you.
Here you are, Joe.
You'd better carry those yourself. Knowing me, I'd drop them again. Meg?
What?
This is Laurie.
I'm pleased to meet you.
Hello.
Oh, please, don't get up.
That's very kind of you, as I'm feeling rather tired.
I'll go look for a small table to put the food on, Joe. Would you mind holding this for a moment? Meg?
Thank you, Laurie. He's so kind. Does he know about my leg?
I didn't tell him.
Here we are.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure, don't mention it.
Ah, good.
Good.
Excuse me, would you like some coffee as well, Joe?
Sure.
Please allow me to get it for you. I'll be right back.
Oh, no, don't bother. I can get it.
No, I wouldn't think of it. I won't be a moment.
What a gentleman.
It seems like you've gotten to know each other.
We have. We've been talking most of the night. And I feel like I've known him all of my life.
Did you find out why he's constantly looking at our house?
Mm-hmm. He wishes he had a family just like ours. And that's why he watches us.
Oh.
If he knew Amy, I think he would change his mind fast.
Stop, Joe. Amy means no harm. And I'm certain if Laurie ever got to know her that he would like her very much.
Oh, Meg, please. I was just kidding about Amy, but you have to admit she can drive you crazy.
What's wrong with Laurie's family?
Well, for one thing, he told me he no longer has his mother and he misses her terribly. My heart breaks for him just thinking about it. I have a feeling he's very lonely much of the time.
You would think a charming fellow like that would have a girlfriend.
I dare say he thinks you're the cat's meow. He even told me as much earlier this evening. Oh, Hannah, I'm so glad you finally arrived. Meg and I are in a terrible fix. Her ankle's very badly sprained. Look.
Wouldn't you just know it? Something's always got to happen to the March girls.
Oh, be gentle, Hannah.
Well, Meg, what did I tell you about those silly shoes? Try and walk a bit.
I wish I had listened to you. I wouldn't be in this horrendous position if I had. Hey, stop laughing at me. This really hurts.
That's it, honey.
Oh.
Oh, Meg, you poor thing.
This is terrible.
It's worse than I thought.
It'll get better soon, Meg, I promise.
Forget about walking. We're going to have to figure out a safe way to get you home. What about it, Joe? You got any ideas?
Actually, I think I do. Hannah, if you'll help Meg prepare to leave, I'll go and work out a way for the three of us to get home.
Yes, all right. Do you hear that, Meg? Let's go get us your overcoat. We'll take it real slow. Just lean all your weight on me.
You'll be home in no time, Meg.
That's it, honey. Now don't let go.
Here's your coffee.
Laurie!
I apologize for taking so long.
That's all right. I had forgotten about it anyway. Thanks.
Mrs. Gardner cornered me and I couldn't get away from her. I just overheard what happened to Meg.
Oh, yes. Isn't it awful?
I'm sorry. My grandfather has sent his coach here for me. Do you think it would be all right if I escorted the three of you home?
What a stroke of luck. Of course it will be all right. But it's still early. Are you sure you're ready to leave?
Oh, yes. Quite sure.
I can't tell you how happy I am that I got to meet you tonight, Laurie.
Well, I feel exactly the same way about meeting you and Meg.
Oh, I must go tell Meg and Hannah. They'll be so excited when they hear that we've got a ride.
Joe! Oh!
Are you all right?
Oh, yes, thank you.
Huh. Do you think you could slow it down just a little bit?
Sure.
Look, it's starting to snow.
You better close your jacket.
Thanks, Joe.
Don't slip, girls.
I can't even begin to thank you enough, Mr. Lawrence. You saved the day.
Call me Laurie from now on, please.
Thank you again, Laurie.
It was all my pleasure, really.
Good night, Laurie.
Good night, ladies.
Hush now, girls. Easy.
Oh, look. The light is still on in Beth and Amy's room.
Wouldn't you know it? Neither Beth or myself could stay awake until Joe and Meg had returned. It was probably for the best, though. The next day, it took almost 2 hours for us to hear everything that had happened at the gardener's eventful dance.
Fortunes of war can change their ways.